That's an AK-7 for you! No, it's clearly an AK-47
Well, does it have the grip attachment, or does it have the long barrel?
It's just an AK with a collapsible stack!
Welcome to the Kindred Spirit Podcast, a show all about the board game Spirit Island. Here we'll talk about analytics and strategies within the game, as well as a plethora of other topics that can be found within it. Today we return to the Adversary series as we commence the examination of Brandenburg-Prussia!
The OG!
The OG!
Okay, here we go.
I know what I said.
Alrighty!
Subverting expectations. That's how you do it, right?
You're letting people down. They expect things from you.
Dude, I gotta even out the ratios of how many times I've said that
But
one.
some people, like YouTubers and stuff, they always have their opening intro and outro.
It's true, but I notice that I will say alrighty all the time, even when that's not the start of the episode. I'll be like, okay, here we are. Even now we're doing the introductory bit because we're starting the episode.
Yeah.
But then when it's time to get to business, alrighty. So
You do say it. You lean on that word.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's a crutch.
Crutches?
So, Brandenburg-Prussia. It's actually kind of fun to go and look at an adversary that's been in the lexicon of Spirit Island players for so long.
Yeah.
This adversary has been on the field for a while.
For some people, it's one of their most played adversaries.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that's pretty cool about this. One of the reasons why I wanted to get to Brandenburg-Prussia so early in our series. Because we did Russia, because they were big and huge, and they're like one of the biggest ones on the market
Difficulty
now.
11.
Right, and then we have Habsburg, which is the other bully on the block, and those are new, but I kind of wanted to go and look at one of the original ones.
Okay.
And this is one where I feel a lot of people will have a lot of experience with for a lot of reasons. One, because they've been around for so long, and two, because of how they are structured, they will most commonly be played for newer players as opposed to maybe Sweden or England, because those ones are a little bit tougher.
Yeah, definitely England. There's a lot to keep track of with those builds.
Ooh, we'll get to them eventually.
Yeah, keep pushing them down the road, please.
Our second wave campaign is against them, and they are getting harder and harder.
Every single time we notch up that belt or whatever.
Yes, but I will say we've won all 3 games, so,
that's true.
And counting, but, it's kind of interesting when it's like we're running out of spirits.
I was about to say, we've lost some soldiers along the way.
Because we can't play the same spirit twice.
So you had mentioned this about the aspects, so we'll do wind lightning, and then we'll do pandemonium lightning,
right.
and then we'll do immense lightning.
Because we couldn't play the game because we had run out of all the spirits for the base game. So Jagged Earth came out, we're like, yay, we got new spirits. But wait, we got 11 others because of all the aspects.
Yes! Especially lightning. Destroy.
Oh, we will make use of pandemonium lightning and wind lightning as well.
Wind lightning. Immense just goes...
Yes.
Anyway.
But that will be for another day. Today is for Brandenburg-Prussia. So let's go and learn a little bit about them, shall we? This is a fun little disclaimer, a little legal disclaimer right before their lore. In the alternate history of Spirit Island, Brandenburg-Prussia became a much more significant power than it was in our own world, maintaining some crucial alliances which greatly increased its size, population, and significantly port access.
Oh.
Interesting.
I didn't know much about it in real life.
Either, yeah.
But that's cool that they're strong in the alternate universe.
Yeah, it's good to know that we are getting a fictionalized version, because then I don't have to just take all of my educational input from a board game and treat it as history.
You shouldn't be doing that anyway.
Hey, what?
When the Call of Duty kid comes up, that's an AK-7 for you! No, it's clearly an AK-47
Well, does it have the grip attachment, or does it have the long barrel?
It's just an AK with a collapsible stack.
You get the idea. So
right.
I think it's actually kind of cool.
You don't like competitive online multiplayers.
Stop it. We need to get back to the thing.
Wait, real quick. Wouldn't it be kind of cool to have like a mini-series of Spirit Island, or no? Do you think that could ever happen?
By miniseries, you mean like TV show, books?
John, do you mean like a long series?
Well, when people say miniseries, they usually mean like TV shows.
Yeah, I would think of like a TV show.
Dude, that'd be dope.
That would be cool. But like, would you do it perspective of the Dahan?
Maybe like a documentary? Kind of like a Nat Geo kind of thing?
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
And like, you could set up this alternate universe, and like one season BP, like Brandenburg-Prussia can be the bad kids on the block.
This is cool.
And the second season could be England. Yeah, actually keep pushing England down the road. Wait for them. That'd be kind of cool.
Dang, I never thought about that.
Eric Royce, you owe me money.
You get a quarter for every play.
Give me the royalties.
Okay, well... Frederick William inherited the Duchy of Prussia and Electorate of Brandenburg upon the death of his father, George William, in December of 1640. Issuing the ineffective and vacillatory foreign policy of his father, Frederick William abandoned the Polish Vasa dynasty and allied with King Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden against Catholic Poland. The Triple Alliance of Sweden, Russia, and Brandenburg-Prussia resulted in the resounding defeat of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in 1644, and its subsequent partition more than doubled the size of Prussian lands. As a result of this victory, Frederick William, the Great Elector of Brandenburg, declared himself Frederick I, King in Prussia, and set about the process of building infrastructure and extending Prussian control throughout his newly acquired territory. Upon his death in 1701, his son Frederick II inherited a thoroughly Prussian kingdom and one of the premier European armies. Frederick II sought to further expand Prussian territory without upsetting the continental balance of the power between Sweden, Russia, France, and the Habsburgs. Building up the Prussian navy, the new king strove to catch up to the other European colonial powers and quickly integrate new colonies into the Prussian economy. Hey, wait a second. There is a typo on the wiki page right here.
Uh-oh.
What? His son, Frederick II, his S-U-N, son?
Wait, the sun like a star?
Do your job, Danpor. Hey, typos exist. I couldn't help but notice. I was like, hey, wait a second.
Wait.
That's not the right kind of son.
English is a hard language.
It is. And it is a inconsistent and kind of a wonky language anyhow, so.
Yeah, like the way we pronunciate things and stuff.
How you can fill in a form by filling it out.
Wait.
A house burns up as it burns down.
Wait.
How teachers taught, but preachers preached?
Preach?
You park in a driveway, but you drive in a parkway.
I still don't know if it's like
a
hunged,
hot dog is
hang.
Right. Hanged, hunged?
I don't know
I
what
was indulging on that one. But yeah, English is weird. Guinea pig is not a pig, nor is it from Guinea. Like,
yeah.
What the heck,
We're
English?
strange.
We're weird. Anyway, let us go learn to see what the book has to say about who is good or bad against Brandenburg-Prussia. The Kingdom of Brandenburg-Prussia. Excellent first adversary with few new rules. Most of the changes occurred during game setup. We'll get into this later, but
True.
very true.
Yep.
Speed is the name of the game. The invaders do everything at a faster tempo. Cards with 2 land types come up much earlier, often before the spirits have had time to prepare. This adversary is notably harder for spirits which need substantial time to develop.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, because obviously since they're just going so fast, anyone who is slow is going to feel as if they're being exploited unfairly.
Especially at the higher levels where they are sprinting out of the gates.
And this is where something actually is very interesting.
Okay.
With what we just told you, you may credibly think, hey, okay, they're fast, don't play slow characters. A lot of the feedback we got actually contests this.
Well, wait.
In very specific
Spoilers,
instances.
but we will get into that.
But I want to say, like, isn't that cool? Like, interesting. We have
It's-
some people that contest this. I can't wait to get into that.
This happens in like Smash Bros. Or other games where they intend a character or an adversary to be a certain way, but then the community's like, oh, I found this loophole,
Right.
and they're better at this. I like when they kind of, not break the game, but find
Right.
different avenues to go.
I'm sorry, I can't help but think of Lightning in England.
Oh.
Like, haha, England's gonna be awful. Lightning just goes...
Destroy.
Right.
Yeah, it's like one of those things.
And then Eric and the gang, oh no.
Oh no, well then we get
Oops.
Habsburg.
Then Habsburg, okay.
You got the parentheses.
Right. And we've talked about
Destroy
that before.
powers do not affect.
All right, so Brandenburg-Prussia. Let's go see what they do on the field, shall we? What do they actually bring to the table? So, interestingly enough, Brandenburg-Prussia is one of 2 adversaries in a very specific way.
Well, Ryan, I will get into their loss condition.
Okay, tell me what it is.
None.
Oh.
Okay. Nice.
Brandenburg-Prussia is one of 2 adversaries that doesn't have any additional loss conditions.
Which is so nice.
Hey, I will take it. It is really nice. It is a breath of fresh air.
What?
It's also just yet one less thing you have to worry about.
Oh,
Sweden is the other one, by the by, that you don't have to worry about any additional loss condition. This is definitely one thing that will help new players when they see this, because when they go ahead and look at this adversary cards from the game, they're going to be probably looking at the adversaries that don't ramp up so crazy.
Yeah, and those loss conditions kind of sneak up on you. Like, I've had other Russia games where I haven't been playing a beast user, and then that that quickly can just be like, oh no, or we are one beast away or something.
Oh no.
Scotland sneaks up on you. Like, there's some of them. Oh, France is my least favorite.
For me, mentally speaking, I think France is the most pressure-inducing on my mental psyche. Like, oh dear.
Yeah.
No.
Having
Second
that
will be Scotland.
Scotland,
Because the
okay.
moment there is ever a city on the coast, I'm like, hey, wait, don't we start
You're
with
just-
that?
you're sweating.
Oh dear. When you start the game with Scotland, you're already 50% to their endgame loss condition.
it's quick.
It's like, oh.
Because people say England's tough, but it takes a minute for England to get
Right.
going.
Also, Proud and Mighty Capital, you can see coming.
Yes.
And you
can
can
be like,
have a
oh.
hand in either assisting or negating.
We got 4 buildings in here.
Right.
We should do something soon.
Right. But the France one, 7 towns per player.
I feel like on turn 2, you can have like a bad build, and then all of a sudden you're out of towns. I'm just like, oh.
I guess it's similar to Proud and Mighty Capital, but for whatever reason, France probably gives me the most mental stress with the loss condition. But Brandenburg-Prussia doesn't have any.
No, that is nice.
They have a very simple Stage 2 escalation.
Okay.
It's called Land Rush. On each board with buildings, add a town to a land without a town.
Very easy.
So, on each board with buildings, that's
That's going to be
probably
every
going to
board,
be.
yeah.
So, if you're not Lure, this will happen every time.
Well, with how quickly they go, it's hard to like break down their
Right.
buildings
The
quick
joke
enough.
there being Lure probably will win you the game by turn 4 anyway, so you don't have to worry about that.
Lure is lure.
So yeah, you are almost guaranteed for this to go off on that end of the spectrum. It's like, oh no, this is going to be difficult because it will probably almost always happen.
Yeah.
But you just add a town to a land without one. Oh, that ain't so bad.
And you can pick, too.
Yeah.
It's your
Yep.
choice.
Yep. Now, it does say just add a town, so that's not a build. So if you were going to prevent it,
Yeah.
you can't. It's just, boop, here I am.
No isolation tricks.
Mhm.
Yeah, that one's a little tough sometimes. You can't really work around it. But
Yep.
like you said, it's not the worst thing.
Yep. And with just this, with the loss condition that is not there and the escalation, they start with a base difficulty of 1.
Okay.
Very cute.
It's a good start.
Yep.
I will get to level 1 difficulty.
Let's go.
You start with 9 fear cards, and it's the usual 3-3-3,
Mhm.
which is nice. Again, not much different for a newer player. It is called Fast Start. During setup, on each board, add 1 town to land number 3.
Yep.
There you go.
So your coastal land will get an additional town.
So you always start with 1 town on the board, just like first setup on
Yep.
the printed icons.
Yep.
So now we have 2 towns and 1 city.
Yep. And that city will always be on the coastal land, the middle of the 2. It's
Yeah.
always land number 2.
With the diseases, if you have the expansion.
Just a fun little trick that could be helpful and useful to all the new players out there. Keep in mind lands numbered 1, 2, or 3. Those are your coastal lands. Every now and then you'll see something on a scenario or on an adversary that references land 1, 2, or 3. And on paper, it's like, okay, if I was looking at the board, I could see what land that meant. But just like a fun little trick, land 1, 2, and 3, that means your coastal lands.
Always the coast. Good to know.
Yep. So...
Oh, sorry. Level 1, it bumps it up to difficulty 2.
Yep, they increase a difficulty of 1 from 1 to 2. Not bad. This is still very mild.
Like we've stated before, we like setup instructions because
I
it's...
love setup
Oh, it's
instructions. Because you don't have to remember
Yeah,
so
you
much.
don't have to
You don't have to
remember
keep
everything.
track of all these various things. You don't have to micromanage all these various effects. It's just, okay, I basically did all the changes already. Now I can play a standard game
Yep.
because everything else will automatically happen with how it was set up. Moving on to their level 2, they double in difficulty.
Jeez.
Okay, it's from 2 to 4, so it's not much.
We're getting a little more spicy.
But it is technically a mathematically accurate statement to say that it doubled from 2 to 4.
We're adding some paprika to the mix. A little kick.
Yep, that's right. So they actually keep the same fear cards.
Oh.
Still 9. So
Okay.
3 across the board.
Nice.
They acquire the perk Surge of Colonists. What is about to happen is going to be a certain theme that I'm sure you might maybe recognize. It's subtle, but maybe you'll recognize a common theme here. So
We've stated that
I can't keep a straight face.
the level 2, haven't we said like that's usually the thing?
Right, where usually an adversary's identity will be covered in levels 1 and 2.
Like Russia, their explorers don't die
Yep.
on 2.
Yep.
Type of thing.
And this is no different. So, Surge of Colonists. When making the Invader deck, put one of the Stage 3 cards between Stage 1 and Stage 2.
Oh.
So usually you will have your 1s, then your 2s, then your 3s. Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Now though, you'll get your 1s, then you'll get a 3, then your 2s, and then back to 3s. So you're just gonna get a little double land spike in between escalation tier 1 and tier 2.
So when I teach this game and I'm aware of my surroundings of people and like their level, if I think they can handle it, this is what I start with.
Yeah.
Because I think this shows everything where you have your 1s and then you have that 3 and they're like, whoa, 2 lands at once.
Yep.
And then the 2s come, you get to see the escalation symbol and you get to see the little flag. I don't always do it. If it's a completely novice player, then I obviously will do base.
I do think this is an important calibrative change to newer players to get a stage 3 card this early. Why? Because it will convey to them how big of a deal that is and how much ground bad guys can cover even if they get a single stage 3 card.
Yeah.
Because that's 2 lands. So that means they explored in 2 kinds of lands. Then they build in those. Then they attack in those. So it can be kind of hard sometimes. You're like, oh, wow. Oh, okay.
4 per board that they're ravaging in 4 different places.
But I think what's important is since this is early, you can see exactly how big of a chink in the hose this is once it passes and goes.
Yeah.
Because look, you still have all of your 1s.
Which is nice.
And then you have this 3, and then it goes back to 2s. And of course, the stage 2 cards are all 1 land at a time, with the exception of the coastal land card. But my point being is you can quickly calibrate the effect of, oh, okay, and it teaches the player how much of an effect going to multiple lands is.
Yeah. I think it has to be for an experienced board gamer. Because we recently played with my sister, and she's played Codenames, Monopoly, Scrabble, either a party game or games we grew up with. So we did not do that, which is fine. And I still had a fun time. But we played with events. That was like the one modifier that we did. But if someone has played many other games, and especially strategic or pandemic games, then I think this is a good place to start, like you're saying.
So before we continue, I want everyone to remember this early stage 3 card and where it is.
Okay.
It is right in between the 1s and the 2s, perfectly in the middle, dividing the stack of the 2s.
Let's move to level 3.
Let's go.
We go to 6 difficulty, starting to get a little...
Once again, increased by 2.
By 2. We add a fear card.
Our first one.
So we got 3, 4, 3. With 4, obviously, on the tier level 2. This one's called Efficient. I'm sensing a theme here. When making the Invader deck, remove an additional Stage 1 card. So now we only have 2 Stage 1 cards.
Now you only have 2 of them there. Of course, the unfortunate thing here is that Escalation Stage 1 is my favorite.
I know, we're moving fast away from it. And then obviously that 3's still there, so this is for me when they start to get more difficult.
That 3 is still there.
Yeah.
It still bisects the 1 and 2 escalation decks. Still there, dividing the 2. Moving on to level 4, they increase in difficulty yet again, but only by 1.
Oh, okay.
They go to 7. Last time at level 3, they were at 6. Now they're at 7. They do gain another fear card, however, and it goes to the front of the deck. With a total of 11, it is now 443. Now they get the perk Aggressive Timetable.
Oof.
When making the Invader deck, remove an additional Stage 2 card. Now, this is kind of interesting because by removing an additional Stage 2 card, they're also removing, potentially, a escalation effect, which is like, okay, cool. This is actually helpful on the short term, but long term, this is starting to hurt because look at the Invader deck. It now has 10.
So we have 10 turns.
You got 10 turns.
Oof.
Of course, if the card that you burned was the coastal land card, hey!
That's true, that's
Silver
nice.
lining.
But we're getting to the point where you might not fully upgrade as a spirit anymore.
Right. Before, you had 4 Stage 2 cards. Now you only have 3.
Even if you have double placement presence, you are probably going to have to reclaim. So you might end up kind of being a weaker spirit than normally you would be used to.
By removing certain Invader cards from the Invader deck, not only are the ratios changing, but so also are the overall turns in the entire game. As we go down these levels, the sand in the hourglass is slowly flowing away.
This is tough for me because I like Spirit Island because of the length.
Yeah.
And I like that journey of my spirit growing and becoming stronger, or maybe taking different forms with pulling major powers that changed what the spirit was. And I feel like with Brandenburg-Prussia, I can't do that as much.
Right.
So I understand why they're difficult, and I like what they do. It's fun, but they're not my favorite adversary because I like growing as a spirit.
Right. You feel as if you have less time to fully actualize into your character.
And less time with the game, too, because I like a longer-ish game, because it's fun, especially spending time with friends or my wife or what have you.
I agree.
But this really cuts down the time.
It does.
So, next is level 5.
Level 5.
We are at difficulty 9.
One up by 2 again.
One up by 2, and we're 1 away from the 10. We have now 11 fear cards. Wait, we had 11 last time. So it
stays at 11.
The 443.
Yeah.
This one is called Ruthlessly Efficient. When making the Invader deck, remove an additional Stage 1 card.
Hey, wait a minute. We only have one now.
We're down to 1. One Stage 1 card. That 3's still there.
That 3 is still there.
Still there.
It still divides the level 1 deck and the level 2 deck.
Okay, this is where it's starting to get difficult. It is nice to have that 1 there, though, because your first 2 turns isn't the worst yet.
Right.
How many turns are there?
9. We're losing
time. We are.
And finally, at level 6, they get their difficulty 10.
There it is.
And they get an additional fear card, so now they get 12. And it is 4 across the board.
Oof.
4, 4, and 4.
Which doesn't sound like, oh, there's other adversaries that add way more fear cards.
The good news is that 12 fear cards is actually very low for a fully upgraded adversary.
But
this is a good thing. The bad thing, however, is they acquire the perk Terrifyingly Efficient. When making the Invader deck, remove all Stage 1 cards.
Yeah.
While they may have 12 fear cards to get through, you have so little time to get them.
8 turns.
We now have 8 turns. Brandenburg-Prussia level 6. You must win the game within 8 turns. Otherwise, you're toast. Furthermore, that 3 that we spoke of that we have been following all this time, that 3 that we've been remembering.
Where's it at now?
It's now here in the front door. It is at the head of the cavalry. It is the front locomotive. Before, it was dividing the 2 decks. That 3 card was getting closer to the front, closer to the front,
and
closer to the front. And now you start the game with a 3.
So that's rough. Right?
Yeah.
That is difficult.
You now see why I told you to pay attention to that 3. Because that 3 gets a lot of fame at level 6.
That almost becomes their new lost condition. It's so fast.
Yep.
You might be able to hold them off, but in a snap, they'll be done. It's like, wait, I didn't blight out. But you didn't earn enough fear.
Right.
They're too fast.
And so these guys use the clock. England uses the build. Habsburg uses the towns. Sweden uses the damage. Brandenburg-Prussia uses the clock.
They're so fast.
Right.
No other adversary starts at 3.
Nope. So it's very interesting and it's very strange because on one hand, they don't do much. Really, look at their entire adversary card. Okay, escalation, they add a town. Cool. Their very first one, they add a town to your coastal land on land number 3. Okay. And then the rest are just fear card increases and invader card removal. It's it. I only have to remember just one thing and that's the escalation.
The remembering's easy.
It seems so basic.
In 10 minutes, the game's gonna be done. We're gonna lose.
But how big of an effect it has on the game that time is against you.
5 turns. We lose 5 cards.
Yes. The clock is against you. It is very strange when you get to your second Stage 2 card and you're like, all right, we are approaching the mid-game.
That's crazy.
Turn 3. All right, we are now on the cusp of our mid-game.
Especially when I'm not used to Brandenburg-Prussia, because I hadn't played them in a while, and then we'll talk about our game. But it was just like, all of a sudden, boom, they're going to 2 places. I'm like, whoa, I haven't even grown yet.
Right, it's crazy. So, Brandenburg-Prussia. Let's go talk about our game.
Yes!
It was awesome. We had a 2-player game against Brandenburg-Prussia, fully leveled up, with events, mind you. And so, whenever we want to take on one of these massive high difficulty adversaries, not saying that Brandenburg-Prussia is the highest, but when I say like fully upgraded at their level 6, I always want to be careful who I pick. I don't want to pick just some random schmuck. I want to pick someone who I think will be pretty good. So when we played Brandenburg-Prussia, I played Heart of the Wildfire.
I'm noticing a theme with you. I played a spread of rampant green. I picked Ryan's main.
Hey, wait, what?
And it was cool. Like, we were texting beforehand, and you're like, "Oh, if you do this," I feel like
I was giving you pointers.
I felt like I was in Little League, and you're like, "All right, son." So this guy likes to throw the curveball. I'm like, "Okay, pops."
Hey, to be fair, I wasn't telling you what you should do. I was just telling you what you can do and just various strategies with green.
Also, to be fair, you've played green many more times than me. I mean, I was not rejecting it. If you have more experience in something, I want to learn because you've just dealt with more situations with the spirit than I have.
Oh, guys, this pair was fantastic.
There is lore behind this. Like,
This is actually a famous pairing. To those of you who don't know, Wildfire and Green are a famous duo in the same way that Ocean and Bringer are a famous pairing. Why? Well, it's all about Wildfire doing damage when they move or when they place presents.
and Green's major thing that everyone loves is Gift of
Proliferation.
There it is.
As if Gift of Proliferation wasn't good enough already, it is maximized to a critically important role on this very specific team.
So you're saying the strongest unique cards in the game
Looks even better.
That's insane.
Because even though it already is great in and of itself, it accentuates Wildfire's special rule, Blazing Presence, to a much needed extreme. Now, I'm not saying that Green and Wildfire are the only ones that are capable of taking down Brandenburg-Prussia, but the thing is Brandenburg-Prussia moves very fast against you. So it was quite interesting because when we were playing this game, there were times when it's like, normally I wouldn't do this right now.
No.
Normally I wouldn't do that this early, but I have to.
I pulled a major crazily early.
Same,
But we both
cannot linger in any way. We have to blitz as fast as you possibly can.
Well, Ryan, like you said, the mid game is like 3 turns in. You know?
Right. So the thing is you got to go as fast as you possibly can. We thought that this pair would be just perfect because in a 2-player game, you have a decently small board and Wildfire can go and start dancing quick.
Yes.
I wanted to pick Wildfire because Wildfire is one of the most damaging spirits out of the gate. When you tell me damage out of the gate, like early game, I think of 2 people immediately. I think of Fangs and I think of Wildfire.
Who do you think is better?
Too many variables in play. I know that sounds like a
What
cop-out.
a political answer. You should run for office.
Stop. But the thing is Wildfire gets to do damage whenever they move or place a presence.
Yes.
This is commonly known. Yes. But on a 2-player board, having Gift of Proliferation, making Wildfire place yet another one and doing damage again in another spot. And then we in this game were having Green do a reclaim cycle much tighter than usual.
I know. I
So-
was reclaiming a whole heck of a ton, but it was worth it.
It's completely worth it. And this is where it kind of gets weird because Green has 2 functioning roles to uphold with this very specific pairing. 1, stall. Do your best to stall as best as you possibly can. And this is your secondary focus. Your primary focus is soup up Wildfire to the moon. Even so much as to forego your own offense to get them going ASAP.
So, Gift of Proliferation turns into a 3 damage card to 4
Yes.
damage in the late game.
Seriously, playing Gift of Proliferation was dealing 4 damage. Wait, what?
It kind of-
Because
yeah.
it let Wildfire place presence, who had 4 fire elements exposed on their tracks, so they did 4 damage when they moved.
I mean, that's some damage worth that major powers have. 4.
And it needs to be constant.
Yeah.
If you're not constantly doing it, like we said, in a normal game with Green, we would not have been reclaiming nearly that fast, nearly that often.
But, again, this pairing works so well because even though I was reclaiming a lot, guess what? I always still got to grow.
Yes.
So I
Green
wasn't
is a rare
stunting.
character who has a very good reclaim cycle. Earth is yet another. One of the biggest things is Green can coexist so very well with Wildfire. And on their lore, Wildfire is a child of the volcano and the Green. So this is like a
Family.
parent. Yeah. But the thing is Green can not only let Wildfire dance faster and go farther with their lands because they keep dancing on one land to the next, to the next, to the next, but they can also survive.
Yeah.
Not in the form of ignoring the damage that is dealt by Wildfire, but Green can come back from it.
Hey.
So it's totally fine if Wildfire goes and starts burning Green to a crisp because Green's like, way, I was probably not going to go there for a while anyway, or I've been preventing actions in that land and even using Fields Choked with Growth to shove towns into certain lands to kind of help conglomerate them a bit. And then Wildfire comes in, hurts a ton of people with Blazing Presence, and even if people aren't dead yet in that land that you just entered, you still can immediately do a Firestorm in that land in the fast phase and follow up with another attack. That's why I love Firestorm so much, because Firestorm is stellar at re-attacking a spot. It's so great for follow-up attacks.
Because sometimes you can kill everything just by placing a presence.
Right. 4 damage is nice when you move, don't get me wrong, but 4 damage isn't all the damage you need sometimes.
Yeah.
So, like you said, this is why it's so great when you can go move into a spot, do 4 damage, and then in the fast phase, Firestorm, which can do a ton of damage.
And people might remember we did a combo of River Wildfire in our Habsburg game.
Yep.
Obviously, we had 3 other people, but I was pushing, again, River, obviously we know is very good at doing that, but I love that card that Green had, like you said, where I could still do that.
Creepers tearing to mortar.
Creepers tearing to mortar. It takes some time for Green to really start breaking down buildings. But I was pushing things to you, so it kind of reminded me of the Habsburg game. I wasn't able to push 3 towns, but even 1 would be helpful.
Right.
One of my favorite things that happened in that game actually was our turn 1, where you stopped both of your potential builds, because obviously they explored to multiple lands. It's a stage 3 card, but you grew, and then I made you grow again. And it was just so cool.
It was so cool. What this matchup looked like for us. Wildfire had basically tamed and cleared the board by turn 3, while Green's board was starting to get in trouble.
It was a mess.
So here's what it looked like. Wildfire setting everything on fire. Cool, quick. Go, 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 go. Immediately start running. The second my board was even close to a tangible level of contained. You gotta get going.
You gotta
get going now.
Because I was destroying a lot of sacred sites, either to prevent builds or ravages, and then I was using that defend too. I was basically playing just like holding back defense.
Right. So, what it looked like. Turn 3. Board already contained and cleared for Wildfire, which, on the side note...
Here we go again. Another great game of Wildfire.
I love you. Clearing a board turn 3 or 4. Love it. With Green's assistance, of course. But still. Anyway, end of turn 2 or 3, around there, Wildfire's board, although not perfectly clear, was under control. But Green's was getting out of control a little bit more and a little bit more because you were stalling. This is so incredibly pivotal that Wildfire comes to the aid of Green quick.
Yes.
Because Creepers Tearing the Mortar is great at killing a city. When you're fully upgraded.
But Brandenburg-Prussia moves fast.
So and they're adding towns.
Yes.
So you can't kill enough people at the rate that you need to kill them by yourself. So Wildfire needs to come over to your board and start setting things on fire on your board. But that's okay because you can come back from it. And we weren't going into crazy lands where you were as well. Because like I said, Fields Choked with Growth, you were pushing towns into certain lands continually. And ironically, since you had committed to reclaiming so often. It wasn't every turn. It was like this turn, then I didn't on that turn. Then I went back. So it was like one turn, skip a turn, then I did it again. Point being, you got a lot of your cards back again because you were also reclaiming a decent amount of time.
Sure.
So you had Fields Choked with Growth a lot. So you were just pushing towns with that card and you were Gift of Proliferationing me and allowing Wildfire to get there quicker. But with those 2 cards, not only were you upgrading me, but you were also shoving towns.
Right.
So you can see now what I meant by the role Green is playing here. Green is doing a lot of the work to make Wildfire look good because Green is A, stalling as best as they possibly can.
Oh, I was trying.
And B, allowing Wildfire to move faster. The funny thing with Brandenburg-Prussia is whenever I see them as the adversary that we're going up against today, the first thing that comes to my mind is like when I think of the paratroopers in World War II.
Okay.
When they're standing up and the light turns green. Go!
That's what I was doing. Gift of Proliferation. Go, Ryan, go! And must we forget, Green has Overgrown a Knight. So again, I can place 2 presents if I want to. So I was growing, honestly, just fine, even within a reclaim loop.
It's funny because Brandenburg-Prussia is like, look how fast I'm going. And Green is like, this is normal.
Yeah, I can go this fast too.
Comparatively, this is normal. And since Wildfire is also getting Gift of Proliferation so often, all of us are
moving at the same pace.
I want everyone at home. I know we have experienced players, but for those who haven't played this game as often, please play this combo.
Oh, gosh.
Even if it's just a solo game,
Yep.
and you're just playing two spirits, it is so intoxicating and so fun.
Yes. And some patience is required of the green player. It's going to feel like you have to give up the most. It might feel annoying to play as green in this matchup. Because how come I have to go and be neutered, quote unquote, in a way because I'm not playing the way I want to play. I'm playing for this guy to be souped up. Hang tight, fam.
Yeah.
You're doing what is critically necessary. Hang tight. Wildfire's coming for you. They will save you.
And every time you play Proliferation, you are doing 2 damage, 3 damage. Yes, it's Wildfire doing it, but I'm the one playing the card, so it does feel like we're going hand in hand.
It's like cause effect.
Yeah.
Wildfire was the tool, but guess who's using the tool? Green. Gift of Proliferation is what made this damage happen.
And in Overwatch, I know I make a lot of references to it, but Mercy has either a healing beam or a damage boost beam.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where, yes, I don't have a gun, so maybe I'm not doing anything, so it's like we're down a player, but I'm making his damage double.
Just hang tight.
And just go
hang
ham
tight,
on people.
Green.
Yeah.
You're just Theoden at Helm's Deep.
Just keep
what
boosting.
What can man do against such reckless hate?
And I'm boosting one of the strongest offensive spirits in the game.
As the wildfire danced from east to west with how our board was, the light of the fire was starting to show up. So, at first light on the 5th day, at dawn, look to the east. And here's Good day. Here's Wildfire as the stag, and Theoden Green stands alone. Not alone. Rohirrim!
But I don't think of a better spirit that utilizes growing more.
I love the 2 towers. Sorry.
Oh, it's the best one.
Okay.
I don't know a better spirit. Everyone benefits from growing.
Yep.
We get this. But I don't see more than Wildfire benefiting the most. Because of that damage.
Come on. Oh, look. Someone has a benefit when they place a presence. Here, let me do precisely just that.
Yeah.
So, it's funny because of how direct this combo is. So, like, for instance, when you look at other combos that are also very good, like River with Boon of Vigor, which says, hey, depending on how many cards a spirit played, they get to gain energy equal to the amount of cards that they played. So naturally, people that have high card play are going to be doing pretty good.
Lightning!
But here's the thing, though. That can go for anyone that has high card play.
True.
Doesn't Fangs also have high card play?
Yeah.
But it makes thematic sense. All the beasts are like, ooh, hey, water. And then water and lightning, great combo. Like those water spreads. But even green can actually get up to 5 card play too with the card play spiking second growth option. Mm-hmm. And hey, the small shrubbery
they love water
is with water, it totally makes sense. But the wording is just, okay, I'm going to search for characters who have high card play. Let me go and search my mental database or look through this roster really quick to see who has high card play. It's not spelled out for you as verbatim as, hey, place a presence. Hey,
who's
do
good
damage when you place presence. This one seems more direct. This one seems more basic of a combo. And basic, I mean like your mental understanding of how basic it is. Like, well, duh. In the same way where it's like, hey, I can't kill people, but I can move them. And Ocean's like, hey, I can kill people for you.
But I can't reach them.
So in that way, it's like, oh, hey, obvious pairing. Here is an obvious pairing, but it's so good.
I'm interested. So spoilers, we won the game.
Yeah.
How early did we win?
I want to say it's like turn 5 or 6.
Okay.
But we were able to win, and it felt so great when you're just like, yes, here they go. But one thing I quickly understood by turn 3, I think it was, I told you, I was like, hey buddy, what's up? We have to get to Terror level 2.
So that's the thing.
We have to.
I don't think you can do a sprint against them and just rush the fear. I don't know if Bringer could do that.
I think it could
They're
be
so
done.
fast, Ryan.
I think it could be done,
12?
but I think you're going to need favorable chance with events and maybe even a assisting scenario.
Too much chance for me. Yeah. Scenarios help.
I think a Terror level 1 victory will be really hard.
Can I tell you my cheat that I did on Steam? Okay, so Brandenburg-Prussia was hard, and for the early parts of Steam, they didn't have Wildfire yet, because that is a promotional thing. Yep. So I had to beat them with just the base characters. Right. So, fun you mention a scenario, I played Guard the Isle's Heart with Brandenburg-Prussia, because you get to bonus grow And you get an extra power card.
I know why you picked this
For
one.
the minor and the major power deck.
Guard the Isle's Heart sets up the player so nice.
So yes, I did have to make sure land 8 or whatever land it is didn't get a town. But I was extra growth right before anything happened. So I kind of cheesed, but you know, it's a video game.
That's not cheese.
Sometimes you got cheese to win.
A convenient scenario, like I said.
All right, but this time I won for realsies.
That's right.
We were talking about this duo being exceedingly strong, and we had talked about how good can they be against other adversaries.
I want to try this pair against other peeps, because this was fast and ruthlessly efficient.
Because we have mentioned the Bringer Ocean, even the River Ocean, Finder Volcano I really like. There's like these pairings that are just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect.
Is this one of the best pairings?
I'd say so.
Okay.
Personally, I'd say so. I mean, this is just...
hand in hand, peanut butter and jelly, that sort of thing.
Right, and the thing is this pair of spirits can be on teams that are bigger than 2. So on a 4-player game, you can have Wildfire Green. But the thing is, the gameplay that these 2 spirits can produce will be at its most effective when the ratios are at 2 players.
That's where their peak is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the thing is green is rescued by Wildfire coming over and helping them.
Yeah.
If you had multiple lands touching other people's boards, like Wildfires and greens might be getting more crowd traffic than usual than if it was a 2-player game.
Like in our
Wildfire
game.
as well might be getting some of just a little more traffic than usual. And I know there's variables in play here, but the ratios were very much in our favor because when I was slaughtering people, the fear was quite nice.
Yeah.
But it was like, we are not going to be able to kill everyone. Because with the Terror Level 1 victory, you have to literally kill every single person on the board. That's not going to happen.
They move too fast.
I had explorers left on my board with Wildfire on turn 3 when I was like, all right, I got to get out.
Yeah.
I'm okay with having explorers because I'll have Firestorm take care of my board and I'll let my movement and asphyxiating smoke start assisting on John's board.
Yeah, because I had buildings that we needed to get rid of. I want to know, or maybe have an achievement or hear if anyone's done this.
If someone has scored a fear victory on max level Brandenburg.
I don't know if it's possible.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised.
You think? Just
Maybe.
get Paralyzing Fright turn 1 or
if
something?
If you get Paralyzing Fright early, seriously, or if you get Terrifying Nightmares.
12 fear cards in 8 turns?
I'm not saying it's not an uphill battle. I'm just saying, I mean, some people have been able to get crazy Terror 1 victories on turn 3 with just lightning.
Okay, that's true.
You know, I'm not saying that's common. We all know that's not common. But maybe. I mean, if you have exclusively fear characters.
Yeah.
Or maybe someone who can help with fear characters.
Ooh.
It may be doable.
Maybe with Bringer and Miss and just keep, like, that little combo.
Hey, that actually might work.
Keep a city at 1 health and just have Bringer keep doing 5 fear on it.
This combo is very interesting and one that I haven't tried yet because if Bringer would quote-unquote kill a city, they instead get 5 fear.
Nice.
And I say quote-unquote kill because, yes, we all know that Nightmare cannot kill anything.
They're not in our earthly realm.
How it works
They're in the
is
fabric.
when you're playing Nightmare and you have a damage card, if you deal 3 damage to a city, normally that would kill it. But since Bringer can't kill it, you instead terrify them. They stay alive, but you get 5 fear for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just said that you need to have a card that does at least 3 damage or more to do what I just described. But Mist can bring the health of that city down to 1.
And then keep it there.
And keep it there eternally.
Yes.
So, from turn to turn, Nightmare only needs to do a single damage to that city, 5 fear.
And that's just in 1 land. What if you did that in other lands?
If you had depots of fear, by the way, Mist is also getting fear from that building as well. So Mist is getting at minimum 1 extra fear because 1 building is still alive in a land of mists and it's wounded. So slow and silent death will trigger. So if Bringer does this every turn and Mist keeps it there, that is at minimum 6 fear that you're getting.
What if you do it in 2 lands?
Right.
12 fear.
Seriously. And
in a 2-player game, to get a fear card, you will need to get 8 fear, because 4 per player. And so if you just do what we just described one time, that's 6 fear. And with those 2 characters, you're going to be getting more than just that.
Oh, sure. I mean,
so
Bringers and Nates just generates fear.
with 12 cards, if you did this and change, you'd be getting at least a fear card a turn. So I'm guessing you would be able to do, realistically speaking, you would be able to alternate between 1 fear card in one turn, 2 fear cards the next.
Okay.
1 fear card this one, maybe 1 fear card, then 2. So it might be close.
I think it would
may
be possible.
close, but it might be possible.
And we're not even taking into account what majors you pull,
Right.
what kind of minors also add fear, because like Rain of
think it's
Blood.
doable.
Oh, I love Rain of Blood.
Oh, it's so great. I like Rain of Blood with Downpour.
Oh,
It's thematically appropriate. It's kind of creepy. Kind of like Egypt. You know what I mean?
it's
Like
kind
the
of
plagues.
terrifying. Yeah,
It's awful,
the
but
10 plagues, just pouring blood down.
all this blood.
And then repeat it 5
Right.
times.
Ugh. Did you get your protein intake today? Yoink!
And 18 fear later.
That's a bit macabre, but whatever. Where is this blood coming from? Anyway.
you made me stop and think.
When I think of blood draws predators, and you see all the alligators, they're just like, hey, we've killed so many people. Look at all this blood in the water. It's like,
Don't think about it.
It's Kool-Aid.
I want to do that combo, and I think they might be able to rush the fear deck.
Yeah, I think it could be possible.
My favorite combo, I think it's got to be River Lightning.
Yeah?
They go hand in hand. Lightning is such a poor spirits, and River just keeps funding. So you can get a reclaim loop. Maybe Wind Lightning would be helpful, because then they're throwing some more support back. I would want to see those 2 pairings, with Rampant Green and then Wildfire versus River and Lightning.
And compare the stats?
And compare the stats. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think those are 2 different peanut butter and jelly combos that are tough to top.
Now, I have to ask, which River and which Lightning?
See...
Base and base?
Base and base, as we know, incredibly strong.
Yeah.
I do like Travel. I think Base River's the strongest.
You shouldn't use Pandemonium Lightning here.
Don't use Pandemonium Lightning.
And you shouldn't use Wind Lightning either.
I kind of like Wind Lightning. Get some extra range.
No,
never
I
a
know,
bad
but
thing.
speed.
Yeah.
You gotta go fast.
That's true. You don't want to lose, your special rule.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Base and base?
Base and base. I'll be Lightning.
All right. Well, I guess I'll be River.
Fine.
Fine.
Well, I said I'll be Lightning because
Twisted
River's
my
arm.
Anyway, I think that'd be interesting, but yeah, it's tough to top Green and Wildfire. I was just trying to think of a better pairing. I don't know.
I do want to take Green and Wildfire on like a globe-trotting run through the roster to see which adversaries they can take down, because it was strong, y'all.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem might be England, because England provides the biggest problem for everyone.
I still think that Wildfire is good against England.
Because they're
Some people contest me on that, but
they're very destructive. I mean,
so destructive.
Yeah.
And asphyxiating smoke still knocks out towns.
oh yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
It's a destroy power.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Not to divert from Brandenburg-Prussia.
Oh
but-
yeah, sorry.
Mhm.
Brandenburg-Prussia. They're fast.
So, luckily, one thing that was pretty funny for us is I quickly understood. I was like, oh, dude, we're gonna have to get to Terra level 2. There's no way.
It was
and
funny.
we got to Terra level 2 the turn we won.
Peek behind the curtain. We had like a game break. Someone had to use the restroom, or I wanted more water, or something happened.
That was me. I had to pee.
Okay. I didn't want to point fingers, but you came up, and it was just like you had this realization. You're like, we're not going to win, John, unless
We get to Terra level 2.
And I was just like, oh yeah, because I was
We
just...
have to get to Terra level 2.
You're kind of going through the motions, and you don't realize how quickly Stage 3 sneaks up on you. The second time it comes around. I know the first turn.
Right.
But all of a sudden, we're like,
Right.
we were almost done with our Stage 2 cards.
Right. And that pace, like, what turn are we on? Turn 4.
There
All
you
right.
go. Okay,
Half
cool.
of the game is done.
Yeah.
Half of the game
It's such a
is
weird
done. We
mindset.
are now in the late game.
Do you see why they're not my favorite to play against?
Oh, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I 100% get it. But it was funny because the turn that we got to Terra level 2 was also the turn that we finally destroyed the last town
And we
and
won.
city.
Yeah.
So it was like a hair's breadth of difference. Like the second we got there, we won. Meaning the margin for error was quite tight.
I mean, that's because they're so efficient. If you make one bad turn or have a down turn, maybe
Yeah.
Lightning wouldn't be so good.
We can see.
We could see it.
Yeah.
But if you have one, like, oh, I shouldn't have played that, or I should have done something different, they already passed you and you probably lost.
Right. I cannot stress enough this point, listeners, and that is this mental calibration you need to have. You have to keep going.
You have to be sharp.
And whenever you have a strategy, if you have a rhythm that you like to have in your games, usually tweak it to be a little bit earlier.
Okay.
I usually don't grab mages this early. Do it. I usually don't go for this early. Do it. I usually don't reclaim this early. Do it. Whatever it is for you, you have to go fast. Go, 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 go,
For
go,
you,
go,
it was
go,
majors.
go.
I have never seen you pull a major so fast.
Yeah.
Because you've had games where you never pull one.
Yep.
Or you wait until stage 3.
Yep.
It was like turn 3.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going for a major.
Yes.
I was like, what?
Time is against you. You must remember that your laurels cannot be rested upon. You gotta go. You gotta go, 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 go. And that's gonna feel weird. It felt weird for me to go that early. It felt weird to see green constantly reclaiming. It felt weird. But what was it gaining? It was gaining consistent, high, fast damage because of the Gifted Proliferation Blazing Presence combo. And that's gonna feel weird, but you have to. Because if you forget about the long term that now has been changed into short term because of Brandenburg-Prussia, they will run the clock out on you very quick.
Usually this game is a marathon.
Right.
When you are running many miles, many laps, and you're outmaneuvering. Brandenburg-Prussia,
It's a 100-yard dash
it's
now.
a dead sprint.
It is a sprint.
It is a sprint, and it's Usain Bolt. And you cannot catch him.
No. And so this team is one who can keep pace with them.
Yep.
They are constantly moving fast. So should you. If you can keep pace like we did, you'll beat them. Awesome. If you rest on your laurels, you jeopardize the possibility of your success.
Yeah.
Can it be done with other spirits that aren't as fast? Actually, yes. And so we will get into that in part 2. You know when we get there.
Okay. Are we in part 2 right now? Have we time jumped? Is Brandenburg-Prussia messing with my head? We're already on the next day.
I have like a gray hair and like I shaved this morning. Like a stubble's coming in.
Welcome to the Kindred Spirit Podcast.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
We're already on the next episode. It's a week later, Ryan. Keep up.
How did I get here?
Why haven't I changed shirts?
Hey, wait a minute. Crisis on Infinite Earth, Barry Allen, The Flash. What is
Whoa,
happening?
yeah. I like Wally as my Flash.
Hey.
He's a Flash, right? Isn't Wally one of them?
Wally West?
Is he a Flash?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah. What is up with comics having characters with their
they,
first name and their last name with the same initial?
Peter Parker?
Lois Lane, Peter Parker, Wally West, Matt Murdock, Otto Octavius, Guy Gardner, Lex Luthor, John Jones, Jessica Jones,
It's easier to
Bruce
remember.
Banner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Fun little trope. Anyway, so that was our game. It was a lot of fun, and it was so energizing to defeat them because that was just an adrenaline-filled blitz to the finish line.
I don't think I blinked, honestly. It just felt so fast.
I didn't know that this game was a drag racing game until I did Brandenburg-Prussia 6.
Yeah, on the box it says 60 to 90 minutes. Wrong.
Right.
Actually, it might be 120. Anyway.
Right. As you're setting up the game, you see the Christmas tree. Red, red, yellow, yellow, green. Yeah! Just raised.
But how good did it feel that we were faster than the fast?
I know. Oh, it was great. Felt like Sonic and Tails, just completely blitzing at the speed of sound, you know, like
that's what we had to be.
Landscape.
Yeah.
That's what it felt metaphorically like. But still, to know how fast they were going up against you and you were able to do it, that felt like, whew, just under the wire.
So are they the most difficult adversary to keep track of? No.
Nope. They are by far the easiest.
But I don't think that makes them easy per se.
I agree. They're easy to understand.
Because people are like, oh, this is the beginner adversary.
Right.
I didn't feel like it was a cakewalk.
Right.
Beating them.
And at levels 2, 1, 3, right,
yeah.
Not so bad. You just get just a little bit of the time crunch. We are talking about Brandenburg-Prussia 6. Are they the easiest to understand? Definitely yes. But understanding them and beating them are two entirely different things.
That's a good point.
So it's like, okay, I understand it. Have you done it? I don't think I want to.
I don't know if I want to go back to them anytime soon.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a newer player told me that when I brought this to the table. Like, look at this, guys. You have 8 turns. 8 turns? That might freak out some newer players. You have 8 turns the entire game.
Yeah.
Win or lose, it is over in 8 turns. So, hey, success or failure, you're not going to be here for a long time.
Usually you have 13 turns.
Right.
So,
not here.
not today.
So,
Brandenburg-Prussia, very interesting. And the OG in the fact that they came in the base game, but also the OG because it was likely that this was the first adversary many people undertook. So in that way, they're most likely the first.
Super one note, but I don't think that speed can be undervalued.
I think you can look at them with like, aw, they're cute, and beginner stuff that you can move on from if you are thinking about them in terms of level 3 or less.
Yeah.
If you are thinking about them in level 6, you can no longer look at them with the eyes of, aw, they're cute. Like, no.
They're not cuddly anymore.
They're not cuddly anymore at level 6. You gotta go.
I tried this like little like solo play of River, because sometimes on Steam, like I've said, it's just really easy to set up a game, obviously. River's not good against. You either gotta stack the deck and make it so they don't explore the lands that already have that town, because then they build and there's a city, and River doesn't do so good against cities. So
where's Fire and Flood?
Help me! It's not in Steam yet!
Oh, it's true.
So, yeah, you gotta be fast. And mini rants. I know we have many players that play solo. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I know you play solo. And I don't want to detract or lose people's, like, opinions of me or anything. It's just not my forte.
It's totally fine.
I think it's because
you have a preference. If you like chunky peanut butter versus smooth, whatever. We all have preferences.
People buy chunky?
I like chunky. Never mind, ignore me, son. Get out of my house.
Are we still friends?
You get what I mean. If you don't like playing solo, that's totally fine.
I think me liking supporting others, and I do like that support playstyle, when I'm not able to do that to another spirit, feels weird, and I feel so isolated and on an island. So I try it. I'm not good at it. I think I suck. So,
hey,
at least at solo.
It's a change of pace.
It is.
So, alrighty, guys. Well, I want to get into your feedback because it's pretty interesting.
Those are my favorite episodes.
Yep, we've said that before, and we'll say it again.
I'm going to keep saying it.
There are some contesting opinions, and I can't wait to divulge those because we got some slow spirits that got high marks.
Wait, the book said no.
I know. That's what I was referring to. So, let's get into it. We'll catch you guys next time.
See you later.
If I'm not closing out the episode with the standard outro music, you can probably guess what that means by now. You guessed it, it's time for another Adversary Survey. If you've been listening for a bit, then you already know the drill. That said, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll let you in. We are currently running an ongoing Adversary series, where we are taking a look at each adversary in the game and what they can do. Very much like what we've already done in this episode. We're looking for your comments on who you think are the best spirits to take a certain adversary down, as well as spirits who don't do so well against that same adversary. For the next one, we're setting our sights on the OG Blight Brigade, Sweden. Do you have any specific strategies for fighting them? Any tips or comments that you might want to share? If so, let us know in the comments, or go visit our surveys on BoardGameGeek, Reddit, or Facebook. I'll leave links to each of those in the description of this episode. Thank you so much to each of you who have participated in the past surveys. Your feedback is the backbone of these episodes, and we genuinely couldn't do this without you. I look forward to hearing what you all have to say about Sweden. I'm Editing Ryan, and I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay awesome.